All right around 3:15 on this Friday, December the 2nd. How's it going, everyone? William Cole here in the Storm Studio, and this is our behind-the-scenes weather model discussion. This is where we like to take you behind the graphics, show you the raw data that we've been looking at as we've gone through the day, and essentially how we're putting together the forecast of the afternoon. We've got a lot to talk about. We've got a cold front inbound tonight, some shower chances as we get into Sunday. Then next week, it looks pretty unsettled as well. So again, a lot going on here over the next few minutes. So let's just go and kind of dive on into this. And I want to start there with the live cam. And again, you can see again right around 3:15. It's still pretty cloudy here in the Metroplex, right? The forecast today was slow clearing. We knew that we were going to begin to burn off some of this low gray stratus cloud cover as we went through the day from west to east, but primarily in our western counties up into the 35 corridor. So far that's progressing. It's getting later in the afternoon, but if we're able to, again, get some more sun in, we're still going to put a decent little bounce on the temperatures. I want to show you this too. This is our front that's inbound. It's still up in Nebraska, but it's making pretty decent tracks southbound. It will be arriving in our northern counties up along the Red River Valley right around midnight tonight, about 3 a.m. in the morning, the way it looks in the Metroplex overnight. Let's look at temperatures here. And first of all, we'll look at them around the region. You can see West Texas, Permian Basin up through our Texas Panhandle warm, more sun there. Here in North Texas, we're basically a region divided, right? You can see out in our western counties, look out on Breckenridge now, they're pushing 80, Graham 76. Over on the Fort Worth side of town, a few peaks of sun beginning to come out. Alliance right now at 62, Love Field still at 61, the big airport still at 61 as well. But this is what it's all about. Let's go and switch over now to the raw data. And again, you'll see this clearing line working its way through. Let me go and zoom this in. And again, this is the visible satellite. And so again, you can see exactly where the Metroplex is, right? Kind of right there in the center part of your screen. Metroplex would be right here. And again, literally, you can see that low gray stratus cloud cover, again, just burning off and shifting off to the east. So even though it looks gray, you may not see many peaks of sun right now over the next 15 to 20 minutes. Even here in the Metroplex, we'll continue to clear that out. And as we do clear it out, like I mentioned, we'll get a pretty decent little late day jump on the temperatures. Forecast at a high today right around 71. It might be a little tough to get there, but like I said, we've got about an hour and a half to work with. And again, we'll bring in some warm air. We'll kind of advect a little bit of warm air from the west end as well. So over the next hour and a half, again, it'll be a bit of a different day here in the Metroplex. And that'll also set up a pretty nice evening. It'll be a milder to fair evening out there for Friday evening plans, again, before that front does arrive overnight as well. So let's go look at our overall setup. This is when we really like to get into it, right? This is the upper air chart. 500 millibar chart is what we technically call this, looking at about 18,000 feet above the surface. And this is where we're looking for our overall pattern, right? This is the current setup rather around the nation, right? So again, we're looking for dips, storm troughs, more active weather, chillier weather, or we're looking for ridges, right? Bumps in the jet stream, calmer weather, typically milder weather. And as it turns out, we have a little bit of everything going on. In fact, we've really got this big, deep storm trough that's now coming out of the Intermountain West. You can see it right there. Also kind of a little short wave riding through it as well. The reason why we have the front coming into the area, it's because of this storm trough, right? Area of low pressure as it moves through, counterclockwise spin on the back of it, pushing that front down into the area, okay? One of the main reasons why, even though it's bitterly cold off to the north, I wish we had the current temperature plot here queued up. It's bitterly cold up in the northern tier, right? We've got 20s, we've got 30s up in the Dakotas, parts of Montana. Typically it's cold up there this time of year. That's not really the unusual part, but where I'm going with this is as the cold front comes down from there, we're talking about weekend temperatures, lows in the 40s, highs in the 50s. So we turn chillier, yeah, but this isn't going to be a big blast of cold air. But if you initially saw that front, you see the 30s, the 20s behind it. In the back of your mind, you might think, oh boy, here we go. This is going to be a real doozy heading into the weekend. But because the storm system, the actual cold air is pooling and staying so far to the north, it doesn't really have an opportunity to come this far to the south, right? So cold front, yes. Cooler for the weekend, yes. But again, in the grand scheme of things, for the first part of December, this front, to be real honest with you, is really not going to be that big of a deal, right? So we've got the general setup. Again, storm trough coming through. That will continue to exit off as we go through the weekend. We've got another lobe of energy coming in from the Pacific. I'll show you that on the actual model data coming up momentarily. And on Sunday, it may give us a few showers. It may not rain here at all. It may only be up in Oklahoma. I've got a 30% probability. It's probably a little too optimistic. Everything looks pretty light. Theoretically, could really make the argument for only a 20% opportunity, but it's the weekend. But anyway, like I said, we'll take a closer inspection of that coming up here momentarily. I just want to quickly look at the convective outlook as well. We like to look at this year round. Again, just looking around the nation for any type of active convective thunderstorm activity. Could be some general thunderstorms in the deep south up through parts of, the mid-Atlantic. This would be for this afternoon. It's mainly for tonight as the same boundary continues to push off to the east. They could have some general thunder over there. For tomorrow, Saturday, no severe weather anticipated, no general thunder even anticipated anywhere across the nation. And again, it's really a similar story now going forward as well, right? And that's pretty typical for this time of year. There's normally a lot of days where you don't have any thunderstorm activity forecasted. In the deep south, though, this technically is now becoming their severe weather season. So those folks, even though a lot of days they won't have anything, they do still have an opportunity of having active weather down there. Okay, what I want to do now, and we're kind of abbreviating these just a little bit. We're trying to get through these just a little bit faster. I want to go right over to the model data. And this is really what it's about. This is truly where we dive into the forecast, right? We've kind of set everything up with what's currently going on out there. And this is the 500 millibar chart as well. Same thing we were looking at earlier, the general setup, but now I'm going to walk you over the next 10 days. This is going to be based off the European model. And the number one thing to look at, really the two things to look at here, at least in the kind of in the near term, we've got, and truly the storm trough. This is the run from earlier this morning. It still has the trough over here. Obviously, we know the trough now is here, but you'll see that continue to pull off to the east as we go through the weekend. Then you're also going to watch a little piece of energy here come up out of the Pacific, very weak wave, okay, that comes through for Sunday, giving us a few showers. And then you're also going to watch this big storm system. It's slowly going to come diving out, and this will be arriving at some point next week. But I mean, it's really going to take its time. I mean, we're talking about Tuesday and a Wednesday maybe timing, maybe even Thursday, with some rain opportunities and another front as well, okay? So there's a lot going on, but the deal is this is not a very fast progressive pattern. Now, the initial trough does move out fairly quickly, but everything else, it's going to be kind of in slow-mo coming together. So you may have to really work here to follow me with everything here as we go forward in time, right? So here we go. There goes the one storm trough pulling off. You can see that easily. There it goes. Here we go. We're getting a little bit closer to the weekend. You can see, again, watch this really carefully, right? I want to highlight this because this is truly important for our Sunday forecast. Watch a little lobe of energy. You're going to see it right here and come through, right? You're going to see just a little bit of blue. It's a little area of spin, what we call vorticity. It's going to give us just a little bit of lift, right? Watch this. There it is. You see it? And it's moving through. But what's happening here, it's one of two things, right? We've got a big ridge, a big area of high pressure down here in the Gulf of Mexico. You can almost kind of see this little donut hole down in the Gulf, right? Connect these lines. So we've got a big ridge down here, right? So that is calm weather, sinking air. Nothing can really go on there, right? Then we have to the north, we have another trough coming through, but it's well north. It's nothing that we're concerned about as well. So we just have this little window of an opportunity for that, again, just very weak wave to come through, right? It's not even well defined whatsoever, but there's going to be just enough lift with it that in Oklahoma, I'm going to show you the data coming up momentarily, they should get some showers up there, right? Here in North Texas, we may have some showers. We may just have a few sprinkles. We may not have anything at all, right? In the grand scheme of things, what we typically deal with here, it's really not much of anything at all, okay? But that is very important to the weekend forecast. It's going to be really important for Sunday. After that, watch the West Coast. Here comes that same storm. It continues to dive down, I mean, just all weekend, giving them active weather. That will continue to cause active weather out on the West Coast. The only reason I'm telling you about it is watch the track. Again, slow-mo. We're now on Wednesday. This is Wednesday now. It's still out west. Here's Thursday. Going into Friday, it finally comes out, right? So really late Wednesday into Thursday, it's coming out into the southern plains. So we're watching that system now Friday, And we're watching the timing on it all weekend long, slow-mo coming down through the West Coast and then eventually coming out by Wednesday and a Thursday. And each and every model run has been a little bit slower and a little bit slower, but that'll be our next real active system, right? Again, maybe a few showers on Sunday, really not too big of a deal, but this may give us an opportunity of some rain in the area. But again, it's really just tracking the exact timing of that, right? Okay, so we've got a few more days, so that system comes on out. Looks like we'll have one more Pacific storm come through, and then after that you can see a ridging pattern out to the west and one more pack storm system that takes kind of more of a higher latitude approach as it comes out. But we'll have a pretty decent storm trough developing there on the East Coast, and we'll take a look at that. But it looks like the East Coast, see that big deep storm trough here? That's normally an indication that they're probably in about 8, 9, or 10 days, probably going to be turning pretty chilly there, right? So mid-December, definitely looking chillier on the East Coast. In fact, let's go and take a look at kind of a depiction of that. This is the 850 millibar chart. This is looking for true air mass change just above the surface, right? So we're not looking at surface temps here, we're looking above the surface, but it gives us a pretty good depiction this time of year, right? Fall, winter, do we have any cold air on the move with these storm troughs? I mean, we typically have cold air on the move, but just how cold is it, right? So let me go and run you through the same thing. Number one, you can see our front coming down. The bulk of the Arctic air, there it is. You can see it just, the trough doesn't come far enough south, right? So the real Arctic air stays well off to the north. But again, you see here in North Texas from today, we have some yellows and some oranges there, right? We're milder, but here comes the front overnight. We turn green as we head into the weekend, right? And we'll put real numbers with this. I say this all the time. If you watch these all the time, I understand you get it by now. If this is your first time watching it, we're going to put the actual temperature numbers with this coming up. But right now, this is just for us to visualize what's going on. It's an important part of forecasting, again, kind of denoting where this air mass change is happening. So we're seeing that again here in North Texas. It's a pretty weak front, right? It's not going to do a whole lot for us over the weekend. Okay, so going forward in time, we rebound the temperatures Monday and Tuesday. They look unseasonably warm, right? So then we're watching that next system coming in and the next front with it. And let's go and take a look at this. You can see it's going to be a Pacific origin. Here we go. We're getting into Wednesday and a Thursday. Here comes that front. And again, yellows going to greens. Yeah, not much with it, right? I mean, it's a Pacific front. It's really not picking up any Arctic air with it. The Arctic air is still staying bottled well to our north, right? Okay, so far for the early part of December, this isn't bad. This is quite doable here in North Texas. Okay, so let's pick up from there. There goes our midweek next week, Wednesday and a Thursday front. We'll keep going. And then after that, here comes that next storm system out of the Pacific. But again, it's another one. It stays well off to the north. You see that the bulk of the cold air stays well up to the north. By late the following week into the following weekend, the following Saturday, here comes one more front. But again, it's a pretty weak front, not a lot going on with it. And then you can see there's that, oh man, look at that big storm trough developing there on the East Coast. Look at those temperatures drop there. So they're going to get, just like we saw there, remember, with the big trough, look at that cold air filling into that trough. So again, the East Coast, and this will be by... what is that, December the 12th. So again, the middle parts of December, the East Coast, they will be turning pretty chilly. A bit of a ridging pattern on the west, not looking bad. Again, we're doing okay, we're cool, but we're about where we should be. So again, as we go from right now through, again, the middle of December, keep in mind this can always evolve. This time of year, none of this is ever set in stone, but typically you're not going to get major changes, right? So we understand this is going to be kind of the general trend going forward. Not too bad here, not too bad west, but it's just going to be eventually the East Coast. Man, they're going to turn, they're going to get a pretty decent cold snap there, which, I mean, they're used to it. That's what happens for them, but they're about to get it, right? Okay, from there, we're going to come back and look at precip. And you know, let's go ahead and look at precip first. I have been showing the raw numbers just to kind of relate what we just looked at to the raw numbers, but we'll do that coming up. Let's look at precip because we do have some precip opportunities, right? So number one, the first opportunity of precip, again, it's going to be Saturday and a Sunday. You see that little wave, again, coming up out of the Pacific. There it is. And we'll look at the high-res data as well momentarily. Again, showers up in Oklahoma. You can see here in North Texas, again, there's a few signals there. Again, this is a global model. This isn't high-res data. A few signals that, again, we may have a few showers. Again, I stuck a 30% on for Sunday. You could probably make the argument of a 20% as well. Doesn't look overly promising, right? So that wave moves on out. Monday into Tuesday, we go quiet, we go warm, And then Wednesday into Thursday, here comes that next front. And this is when at least the data is advertising a decent opportunity of rain. And that front's is going to kind of seesaw around the area as it comes through. It's going to essentially be stalling in North Texas. So the following Wednesday and Thursday could be decent rain. We'll look at rainfall projections coming up. So that would be good. We need some rain. And then for the following Saturday, here comes that next front. And this is also advertising a pretty decent opportunity of some rain that following Saturday. Then we go dry again because all of our systems are gone. Let's look at total precip. And again, just put a bit of an asterisk on this, right? Especially when we're talking about rainfall projections, just because of the setup with both of these, right? The timing is still a little bit in question. And again, sometimes instead of the front waffling in the area, if the front just comes on through, you could have rain, but then it clears out, right? So right now the data is showing the front, both of those scenarios, the front stalls, and it gives us a little bit more of a prolonged opportunity. Again, the data is showing 1 to maybe 2 inches. I mean, fingers crossed that could happen, but right now I'm not buying into that as much. I think a half an inch to an inch, that would probably be within the realm. If things come together just right, we could be talking about 2 inches. We would definitely take it in December, right? No doubt about that. And it's liquid. We're not dealing with any wintry precipitation with any of that, okay? So that right there looks pretty good. I mean, truly, everything right now with the forecast, again, for this time of year, really looking good. I want to come back over now to the raw data, the raw numbers, right? So everything we just looked at, let's put it together. And this is kind of the crescendo here of everything. And so again, for the weekend, we talked about it. We're going to turn cooler, right? Behind that front, there it is. Daytime highs in the mid-50s. Overnight lows down in the 40s, right? We're not even talking about here in the Metroplex. We're not even talking about 30s for lows and highs in the 50s, right? Not a bad weekend. We'll look at the high-res data. We will take one more peek at that coming up for the opportunity of showers on Sunday, and we'll drill into that just a little bit more here in just a second. Here's the big rebound on temperatures Monday into Tuesday. Back in the 70s. That 76 on Monday may be a little warm. I'm not totally buying that, but some lower to mid 70s, right? Quite possible on Monday. Overnight lows look good. You can see really this keeps us now mild even into Wednesday. Here comes that front late. I mean, the timing on this just continues to slow down. So we're really talking about Thursday now, the front coming through. So the temperature on Thursday would be dropping. Again, you saw the front stalls in our area. It's not really got a lot of chilly air with it. So we're going from 67 to 60. Again, all of that looks about right. And then from there, here comes the following system for the following Saturday into Sunday, into Monday. And again, we chill temperatures down from the 60s into the 50s, maybe into the mid 50s. Right now, the way the data looks to me, that mid 50s may even be a bit of a stretch, right? So again, heading into December, the first part of December, this takes us all the way through almost the middle part of December. Right now we're looking good, right? I mean, truly we are, because this time of year, you know, the last several years, it's really been February, right? That's kind of been our problem month. Obviously we had the winter storm, but even outside of that, that's typically when we've kind of been getting our chillier blast and most of our active weather in winter. I mean, just for whatever reason, it's just been February. That is not always typical. That's not the climatological norm, but that's just kind of what's been happening. So the Decembers, for the most part, have been okay. And at least so far, even this year, that's what we're seeing as well. Now, we'll just track all of that carefully, obviously. But let me do one more thing before we jump off of here. And let's look at this high-res data for the weekend. This will be a future radar depiction. And I'm just going over now to what we call the high-resolution rapid refresh model, or the HRRR model. And we're going to do the extended, the 48-hour version of this, okay? So again, in the near term, we know there's nothing going on tonight. There's really nothing going on through the daylight hours tomorrow, Saturday. But by late Saturday, look at this little wave coming in. Okay, so this will be Saturday. This is about 8 p.m. You can see our far northwestern counties. It's within the realm of possibilities, like up there in the Montague County area, Young County, locations like that, Bowie, Graham. You've got about a 20% opportunity Saturday evening of a couple showers. The data here is showing most of the activity literally just right across the Red River, staying up in Oklahoma. You're seeing a little bit of yellow, but keep in mind most of this is still going to be, it's going to be pretty light, right? I mean, there's just not a lot of moisture. This is a very weak wave. So a few very light showers and some clouds. You can see as we get into Sunday, there's 6 a.m. Sunday morning, there's 10 a.m. Sunday, there's noon, and that's as far as the data goes. But again, you can see the wave basically exiting here in North Texas. I mean, again, maybe a couple showers. Like I said, I've got a 30% probability, more than likely, unless something changes here, we'll probably drop that to a 20%. Just as we're coming to within range of the high-res data, this just does not look very impressive on the high-res data whatsoever, right? So it's still going to be a mostly dry weekend, a little bit chillier, not bad. And then even next week, we have at least an opportunity of rain with a front. But outside of that, well above normal temperatures, and then temperatures trending down just slightly with that next front. So overall, hey, for early December, not a bad forecast whatsoever. Hopefully you guys all have a good weekend. I do want to remind you, if you haven't downloaded our mobile app, be sure to do that today. Again, it is a completely free download. Just go to the Apple iTunes Store, Google Play Store, type in Weather Tracker TV, and again, be sure to download that today. Again, otherwise, thanks for watching our behind-the-scenes weather model discussion. Of course, on the channel, we've got your complete forecast throughout the rest of the day and through the weekend as well. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your Friday and have a great weekend as well.